stage where it's all yours.
Yeah.
That's Connecticut right now.
Absolutely.
For high school lacrosse. It's all theirs. Everybody's done.
And you know, it's kind of appropriate because I've had ebbs and flows with Connecticut this year. Is it the best in the tri-state? And I thought it was, and then I thought it wasn't. But I think when it's all said and done, I think Connecticut, when they ring the bell 3 times Saturday at Brian McMahon for the championship, I think this will go down as the most competitive year of Connecticut lacrosse ever.
Wow.
I do.
Listen, because they're top heavy, but in a good way. It's not just 2 teams. They're top heavy with like 5 teams. You know what I mean? And it's
maybe 6.
And
it's an absolute joke, buddy.
But listen, you'll get to that in a second. But what I do like, listen, for all the complaints we had, how late they started, it helped us, right? Because the one thing that's tough about like Super Saturday, June 6th, June 7th in the Tri-State is when the New York States are playing. Well, so is New Jersey. And we can't be in 2 places at once.
Right.
Connecticut, in essence, has helped us because we can now go see the big ones.
It's helped us, but individually, you know who it hurt? It hurt Darien.
You think so?
It did. It did. Because they opened up, I look back for that live chat show we were doing the other night. In our first poll this year that we put out April 7th, Darien opened up at number 20 in the Tri-State at 0-0. There were already teams that had played 7 games. Massapequa, one of those teams.
They moved up 19 spots?
They moved up 19 spots. Greenwich wasn't even in the first poll. Yeah. Greenwich wasn't even in the first poll. And there you go. You know, just such a joke that, and listen, if it was an abundance of a lot of teams, then I'm that guy who's like, wow, this is an unbelievable quarterfinal game. But when you have teams like New Milford, Simsbury, Amity, Newtown, all rated ahead of Fairfield Prep, it's an injustice to the sport. And the fact that Greenwich and Fairfield Prep had to play in a quarterfinal game on Saturday when there's only 4 teams really that justify the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. To me, if I was seeding them, if I was seeding the Class L this year, I would have seeded Greenwich 1, Ridgefield 2, Prep 3, Staples 4.
That's a power ranking. Which we see all over the place. Why did it not apply? Why did they go beauty contest instead of power ranking?
Because I think people just don't want to work hard. It might have taken an extra hour to break up the things and, oh, this team did that. I mean, again, 20 or 21 teams make the Class L playoffs, and you're telling me Fairfield Prep is number 10? You know, let Simsbury or Amity or New Milford, let them go play St. Anthony's, Del Barton, Chaminade, New Canaan. Let them go play those guys.
But you see, I think they held that against them, Mike. You know what I mean? It's almost like, well, Fairfield Prep wants to travel around playing everybody. If you're going to do that and lose, it's going to count in the end. But yes, it should count. But it should count, okay, from a PowerPoint standpoint, strength of schedule. Not strength of your wins, it's strength of schedule.
100%. Later on, we're going to break down all the L, the M, and the S's. When we get to the S, you'll see what I mean about what a total joke the seedings are in the state of Connecticut. Fairfield Prep, the 2-time defending big boy champions. And Jim, just so you know, there will be a new champion in Class L this year. There'll be a new champion in Class M, and there'll be a new champion in Class S. Prep is now out. Wilton didn't qualify for the postseason.
That's good.
And Weston lost to Northwest Catholic by a goal. Grant Lamone played great in that game, the Loyola-bound goalie. He had 10 or 11 saves. He was really good. So it looks like and you got to give Small-Keiser's Jesuits credit because they were done. They were put to bed. The hay was in the barn if you're Greenwich. They were up 6 goals in the 4th quarter. Back came the Jesuits. Prep just hangs on. Okay, here we go. And the big story in this game was Kyle Foote. And as you can see, Prep has owned Greenwich through the years. This year, they beat him. The game Smolkais told me, don't even come. Last year, they beat him by a goal. In 2012, they beat him in the regular season and in the quarterfinal. And in the year before, Greenwich won in the regular season, but Prep won when it mattered. So here we go, quarterfinal again.
You get the feeling Greenwich knew of this history.
Hey, look at Kyle Foote.
Footy.
I mean, he's got the banged up Achilles, but he looks smooth, doesn't he? He looks good.
If you could look good in crutches and a cast, you're big time.
Yeah, number 3 looked good. That's a good way of putting it. And early on, you know who looks great here? Berkey Smith. Watch this pass that Burke's going to fit to Austin Sims. You tell me this cat's not one of the better players in the Tri-State? There are few as athletic who play the sport. How about this? Sam Salibi. I think I used to work with his Aunt Molly on the old Coca-Cola High School Sports Week. To Johnny Tower. That would tie the game at 2 late in the quarter. And then Decker Curran. Oh, my gosh.
Can't give that guy time and space. Decker Curran.
And O'Connor was great. JJ, number 0, the goalie for Prep. He had 17 saves in the game. He was spectacular. Great individual effort here by my man Luke Finneran. Look at that, top shelf. They're up 4-2. 8 minutes left in the first half. Tommy Rogan has had a really good year for Bulkley and the guys for Greenwich High. Look at this save on the pole.
Somebody pick up that pole.
Yeah, somebody slide.
I got him.
There. Yep,
Tommy's got him.
Now it's 5-2, and Finneran going to take an assist here from Decker. One timer.
I mean, this is the Greenwich Cardinals we saw at their best this year. Their interior passing, Mike, has been phenomenal.
Works once, why not again? Curran to Finneran. He's a little stick wizard there in front of the cage. And here comes Prep, though. It was 7-2 early in the third, but now Eddie Long going to make it 9-5 with 7 minutes left to play. Austin Sims, rip.
Time creates it, first step.
9-6, 4:43 left. It's now 9-7. Eddie Long. Jesuit's going to work it around. One-timer in front of the cage, 9-8 with 1:08 left. Under 30 seconds, Prep with the ball and a chance to send it to overtime. Bad pass.
Oh, it happens.
Possession,
it's a killer.
Greenwich.
22 seconds.
Harrington gives it away. And here come the Jesuits. Burke Smith, an opportunity, and look at the play. Decker Curran gets him off his track to the goal. And then their chance to potentially be a 3-time state champ goes away. I mean, just the ebb and flow in those final 30 seconds of the game, unbelievable. And
I always think of the fathers and mothers in the stands for Greenwich. 22 seconds, we got the ball. When that pass is intercepted, oh no. But you know what? Great collapse by the defense there in the final seconds. They did not give him a clean opportunity to get a shot off.
And that's Decker from his midfield spot, running back on the play, not giving up. So that's a huge, people will look this year that Decker Curran had maybe the play of the year for Greenwich when he had the overtime game, when the 4th overtime. Now when they look back, believe it or not, number 41's defense could go down as the play of the year if they go on to ring the bell.
That's always the refreshing side of the intangibles of the game. That you don't have to have a goal or an assist to make the play of the game.
Huge play. Afterwards, they were talking to my man Luke.
Yeah, it was a little scary in the last couple of minutes. Give Prep a lot of credit. They came back. They have a lot of strong players. Definitely made it interesting, but today we were able to pull it off.
With one of your team leaders going down, what does this do for the squad getting the big win here today?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Foote is Greenwich Lacrosse. I mean, he's been like one of my best friends since I was 10 years old. So it's definitely devastating to see him go down with that injury, but we're going to try to rally behind him and give everything we have to win for him.
What a teammate, huh?
Oh,
Kyle Foote is Greenwich Lacrosse.
Yeah, no. Finneran's had a wonderful year. And you know who's had a good year every game, and now you're starting to see even more because he's had to pick up some of the slack? Willie Perry, the sophomore. Will Perry, sensational player. He had 2 and 2 in this game, and he's got to kind of pick his game to another level because Foote is out. He heard the pop at Brian McMahon High School in the FCAC championship late in the game against Darien, and he knew right there when they carried him off the field that his season was done on the field. But Foote, he is still doing some things to stay involved with Cardinals Lacrosse.
Of course I want to be out here, but these guys are all my best friends, and I'm so happy for them that they get another shot to play with each other, and I can't wait to watch the semis. I'm not going to scream and yell, we got coaches for that, but if I see something little that an offensive or defensive guy can take advantage of, I'll call them over and tell them, and they usually appreciate it, and I'll see them do it in the game, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something, so it's a lot of fun.
like a rock star.
He does look like a rock star. Yeah, you can see him with a guitar on the sideline, right? Letting it go.
That's good. You know what? It was too early in this bracket for them to play.
100%.
But it was, in some way, it sort of, it adds a little juice to the run for Greenwich. I mean, as disappointed as Greenwich was in not getting that FCX crown after beating Ridgefield in that semifinal, I think this gives them a little juice now for that kind of, state championship run.
My brother Paul texted me on Saturday morning when I was over at Hofstra for the Massapequa game. He goes, "Hey, you going to the Darien game today?" And I text him back, "No, why? Why would I do that? It's a waste of time. It's going to be running time, early in the second quarter." I said, "The only game of note in the state of Connecticut today will be the Fairfield Prep Greenwich game." I never heard back from him. I told him to take Sean over there to the game, so I don't know what happened. So we do have, for the third time this year, Wednesday night at Brian McMahon. It'll be the second game. Ridgefield and Greenwich, both of their games this year were won by the Cardinals in overtime. The Curran goal in the fourth overtime early in the year, and then Ridgefield up 5-1 at the half in the FCX semifinals, and they just gave that game away. And Foote was great in that game. Had a bunch of big goals. And then Staples, Paul McNulty's guys. Jimmy, I told you after I watched him in the quarterfinals, losing in the FCX to New Canaan, watch out. Very quietly, Paul has had his records now in his 6th year 4 times in the L semi. They rolled the top seed Simsbury 10-3. 8 different players scored. Cole Gendels, the goalie, who was absolutely sensational. He was great again, 16 saves. They knocked Simsbury out of the tournament last year en route to the state championship, a game they fell to Fairfield Prep. Class M, we said right after Darien beat Greenwich for the FCX title. Listen, let's give them a couple of days off and let's just play the M championship. Both games that New Canaan and Darien have played have been running time. Waste of time lacrosse. The biggest thing is nobody's gotten hurt, and that's the most special thing you can say. So here's the bracket. At Ludlow High School, Darien will play running time again, as our number 1 team will go 22-0, taking that unbeaten record into Saturday's Class M championship. Now, the Barlow-New Canaan game is interesting, and if you're the Falcons of Barlow, the worst thing you could have done was beat New Canaan last year. Buzzio's guys were the 2-time defending FCX champs. Yeah. And Barlow, Coach Disler, who does a wonderful job up there in Reading coaching those guys, that team was really good last year. They beat the Rams 5-4, ended their season, and then they lost to Wilton in the state championship.
Where do you sit in your sports history, any sport, any level, in the theory of beating a team 3 times in a year? Because in those both semifinals, you have the exact same situation. You have Ridgefield and Greenwich, and you have Darien and New Canaan. And Ridgefield has lost twice to Greenwich. You feel like it's their right to beat them because of how close the games have been. And then you have New Canaan and Darien. New Canaan has lost to Darien 2 times. So are you a guy that says, hey, I think I like the team that's lost twice to win the third, or do you subscribe that it's an individual thing? And
both teams that lost are angry, but for Ridgefield, listen, you gotta let those guys run. You can't. You can't play these 5-goal games. You can't. So you know me, I've gone on and on about how the M is a waste. Check this out. This is after Darien beat Notre Dame of West Haven in the quarterfinals. And this is Braymeyer, their head coach. You get extra days to prepare in the state tournament, but there's never enough preparation. I was watching film of New Canaan before today's game. What do the opponents do? How do you make them uncomfortable? That was told to the Stanford Advocate. That same day, Chip Buzzio, the New Canaan coach, he had this to say after their 16-1 quarterfinal victory against New Fairfield. You see the defensemen running sprints after the game. They are running hard. These guys want Darien, and that's why they are running like that. And that was also told to the Advocate. This is after the quarterfinal.
It's not their next game.
Both of them have semifinal games on Wednesday, and they're still talking about playing that game. It's death taxes, Darien, New Canaan.
I like the Buzzio approach. I think it's brazen. I think it's kind of gutsy because he's trying almost to sort of light this fire under New Canaan, maybe distract Darien a little bit. You know, it's almost like professional sports. You don't get this, Mike, in high school sports too often, where guys will go on the record, name names, you know, the other team, talk about the programs. Look, maybe some people are going to say there's no room for this in high school sports. I think it's all in it's all lighthearted to a point, and it's not that crazy. But I think it's refreshing too. I think it's pretty cool that he's like, we want him, we're gonna get him, we're thinking about him, and that's the way it is.
And thank God they seeded that right. At least they put those cats in opposite side of the brackets. Could you imagine if they were playing in the semifinals? No need to go.
You would have went to the offices.
yeah, and I wouldn't have gone to the Class M.
Somebody
state
in there,
title.
Mike, quick!
You talk about seedings. Check this out, Jim. I don't know if you've seen this. Look at the seedings for the Class S.
Where's all the 1s, 2s, and 3s?
Yeah, and the 4s. How about this? St. Joe's took on Lewis Mills, the only undefeated remaining team in the state of Connecticut. They won the game 19-4. Mike Sidaro, the sophomore, he was wonderful in the game. He had 7 goals. So
but let me ask you a question. Do the guys that seeded, do they look at that and go, you know what, we got to maybe rethink this a little bit? Or do they go, well, that's how it is. The other teams had better records. When you look up, and the 4 teams that are left are the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8, where 1 through 4 are gone goodbye. Do they just think, oh, wow, what great parity that these higher seeds made their way through? Or do they know, hey, we probably got to look at this a little bit next year?
They've been doing it forever. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You know, St. Joe's has, what, 5 or 6 losses? Look at the conference they play in. They took one of the top teams in the tri-state, Ridgefield. They were leading Ridgefield going into the 4th quarter in the quarterfinals of the FCX. And now you're going to take on Lewis Mills. And Lewis Mills' coach said, he goes, we just don't have depth like that. We can't run 2-3 lines.
Have you already begun? You know, you've had an unbelievable postseason picking games. I mean, Mr. Lax. When did we start calling you Mr. Lax?
You've always said it.
Because when we started doing lacrosse,
do you know that Katie and Brian called me Mr. Lax?
When we started doing lacrosse on MSG Network, you were sort of like, Jimmy, you know, take the lead on this because I'm not a lacrosse guy. Yeah. Then you started getting into it. Then you started picking games. I started calling you Mr. Lax. Okay, you have had a banner decorated, you know, celebratory type postseason picking games. Okay. A lot of it is going to... Now, listen, you don't want to lose the Super Bowl of your pick season.
Right.
And that is going to be Darien, New Canaan. It's a very difficult game to pick. Have you... Now, you won't do that for, as we sit here, 48 hours?
I'm going to wait till the semifinals are over. So I'll have 3 picks remaining this year, just the Connecticut Championships.
Okay. Now, the semifinals, like you said, are academic. Have you come to the conclusion in your back of your mind, or are you still processing the information?
No, I know who's going to
win. It's a done deal. It's either a 3-peat, a 3-0, or a 2-1 situation.
Right.
Then the third time, it's either the third time was the charm, or the third time just reinforced that we were better and those games shouldn't even been close.
Right.
Not a hint, not an inkling, not nothing. We're gonna give
the only person who knows.
Somebody knows?
Katie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I run everything through Katie.
You might not want to say that. You know what I mean? Somebody could, try and find her and get these, put her under the hot lamps.
No, I got people watching Katie for me. Yeah, no. So that's gonna be. I am so there's
some pressure there for you because, like I said. That is in essence. Now,
Mr. Lax doesn't feel
even though Mr. Lax wants to be judged on his body of work, you have this ridiculously gaudy record right now.
The postseason?
Yeah. What's your postseason?
Well,
does it
count the games that you guys made me take?
Forget about the secret ballot.
Okay, forget about the secret ballot.
Forget about the secret ballot.
25-1.
But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say. This is a classic situation where it's like if you were on Jeopardy and you get the final Jeopardy.
I'm betting
how much? That's what I'm saying.
I'm all in.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm all in.
You were going to throw it all away with a wrong pick in New Canaan, Darien.
No, I'm going to make the right pick.
Okay, but there's a lot of pressure there for you.
For me,
there's a lot. Of course, there is.
Pressure's on the kids.
There is a lot of pressure there because that is the greatness of picking a big time game is when you can make an unbelievable case both ways, and without question, you can make a great case for both these teams.
I'm excited to pick the L game. I think the L game is going to be interesting, man. I'm telling you. It's going to be
Because
good.
of the elephant in the room from Westport?
They're not the elephant. See, I think what happened after the quarterfinals, everybody believed Staples is, it just took them a while. When they got the sophomore back, scoring a goal, they become a different team. And their goalie is
Isn't
great.
it amazing?
Great.
And it's
great.
almost like if you don't have an electric sophomore, okay, you're not in the driver's seat in high school lacrosse. And these electric sophomores across the board.
Oh, Jimmy, there are some
it's been unbelievable.
unbelievable sophomores in the FCAC.
No,
Unbelievable.
I know. Everywhere, though, really. I mean, we did the New York State Championships this past weekend.
Yeah.
I saw some sophomores that would blow your mind.
That's crazy.
You know, it's great. It's the growth of the game. It's, the high skills at a young age. But I'm telling you, 25-1, you lose that big. Nobody's going to want to hear about that 25-1. Can't win the big one, Mr. Lax. You can't win the big one.
You know who I was talking to for an hour this morning on the phone?
Oh, man, the All-American from Yorktown. And he is riding high after his Huskers of Yorktown are state champions once again. This is the special edition of the Kark Report as the All-Metro first and second team. And as the Nutmeg State, can you give the Nutmeg State a little hint to as their representation on Kark's first and second team?
No, I can't, because there's some things up in the air.
Can Katie give us?
No, Katie doesn't.
Does Katie know the first and
that's
second
good.
team?
No, Katie does not know yet. She'll ask me tonight, because even though Brian plays at Norwalk, I think Katie is more into the whole thing. Like, Katie will be at the games. She's only going to be at the Ridgefield Grant. Brian's coming with me to both semifinal games at McMahon on Wednesday, and I think they're only coming for the M and the S on Saturday. Like, are you coming to the first game on Saturday?
I don't know.
You probably have things to do in the morning.
I'll be
right?
at the big one.
Yeah, no. They're both going to be great
No, I know
games,
they're all
Jimmy.
big. You're right. You know what? I shouldn't say that. You know what? I apologize, to those people in Westport, because you know me, I love the Wreckers, and I don't mean to discount the magnitude of that game.
No, but listen, everybody's going to talk about the New
understand.
Canaan
Yeah,
Darien. But it's very rare that a lacrosse game, you know how I feel about football, it's very rare when a lacrosse game, starts, it's never going to pique me at the football level. But I'll tell you what, this New Canaan Darien game, it's going to be a show. It really is.
Does the football game that was played on Thanksgiving, the Turkey Bowl, the 20th anniversary, where Darien, took away New Canaan's perfect season, did not take away their championship.
Right.
Is it a factor?
I think, sure, yeah.
You think it's a factor?
I think that drives.
There's some football guys obviously out there on the
Both
lacrosse
teams.
field, both teams, and I think it just adds to the billing of the game. You know what I mean? It's like everything.
It's going to be a huge.
Everything
crowd.
now is about the whether it's the the Belmont, you know what I mean, the Triple Crown. It's all about going in, all the hype, and I think the football aspect, which doesn't happen too often.
No.
Okay, you want to call the residual bad blood, the memories, the bitter memories. It's just like it. Listen, New Canaan Darien in and of itself is just epic across the board, no matter what sport it is. But it is amazing that I just, from a storyline standpoint, okay, that the storyline has transferred from the football season to the lacrosse season, but the schools have swapped.
Yeah.
It was New Canaan football trying to make this historical, undefeated season stand up to be spoken about with any great team Connecticut's ever had. And now, in this game, it's the Darien lacrosse team that's trying to preserve, because we have said that if Darien runs the table, goes undefeated, this will stack up with any lacrosse season they've ever had.
Yeah, their last unbeaten was 05.
Because of the decorated nature of their non-league schedule. They went out, they played the Niskies, the St. Anthony's. It's like they went out and boom, on the road at Yorktown, who now is a New York State Class B champ, beating Jamesville DeWitt, okay? I was at the Darien Yorktown game, okay? I was at that. No contest. None.
I know.
Went through them like a hot knife through butter on a warm spring night at Yorktown Heights. Okay, and that victory right now is the best of the bunch.
Yes. No doubt.
I'm telling you. Because Jamesville DeWitt was no joke, and Yorktown beat them in that New York State final. And Darien, so it's like, there's a lot, man. This is like Hollywood, this game. All right.
A week from today, when we do our final Quick Hits Connecticut show, We will have a new state champ in L. Prep done. We will have a new state champ in M. Wilton, not even in. We will have a new state champ in S. Weston, done. It's going to be a great weekend.
Tip of the cap to Prep, because Small Kaiser's bunch, they don't get the ring of the hardware this year, but you knew in that game they were going to come late, and they did.
They saved some face, but can they save a number 20 ranking in the tri-state, or do we skidoo them tomorrow on the show? And then the RAF will be by. And the Connecticut girls, too.
I think with 4 minutes left, Fairfield Prep was out. Now, did that late run they have keep them back in?
That's a good point. Mr. Lax has got to start thinking about that. What a joke. Mr. Lax.